So this is the story of Be in Peace. So they say that the longest journey you will ever take is the one from your head to your heart. And from my experience, I say that's very true. For me, this story of Be in Peace begins in the fall of 2016, when I read the article on the HeartMath website, Syrian Refugees Find Ease Amid Chaos, about the work being done by Syrian-born American trauma therapist Majd Kamalmaz in Lebanon, helping refugees of the Syrian war. I was inspired to learn about a 6-week therapy program that had a 90% success cure rate with children suffering from enuresis or bedwetting, which is a common symptom of trauma. Notice the shift in this little boy after completing the 6-week program. Learning about his work, I felt strongly called to help him. I was now certified as a HeartMath trainer and was in a position to pursue what my heart called me to do. I wanted to meet this man and see if I could somehow support him in his work with my training in HeartMath stress management techniques. I learned through HeartMath that Majd would be at their annual conference in Cancun to receive their 2016 HeartMath Humanitarian Heart Award in December, and I immediately registered to attend. Soon after I arrived, we were introduced and set a time to meet later that week for me to interview with him for a volunteer position in Lebanon. And this is the photo that I took of him receiving his humanitarian award. During the interview, we spoke of the needs of those who were displaced, and he said the sign of a civilized society is how well they care for their weakest members, particularly children and the elderly. Majd viewed himself as a citizen of the world, and having made that journey from head to heart, took concrete action from the inspiration of his heart into a life of service, creating an organization that cared for those with trauma around the world. He gave me the okay to come and help with a new program we were to develop under the condition that I brought my own interpreter who spoke both Arabic and English. And I trusted if I was truly being called, I would have no trouble finding one. The original plan we made was for me to come to Lebanon in March when the weather was better, but for some reason, both of us felt a prompting to move my initial needs assessment visit up to January. I would later come to understand why. Majd had 2 therapy centers in Lebanon and 1 in Jordan, named the International Institute for Psychosocial Development, or IIPD. It was arranged that I would fly to Beirut and travel to his IIPD center in Bekaa Valley. This is where the story takes a very interesting turn. If you remember the earlier slide about the HeartMath article about Majd's work to bring ease amid chaos, one of the people who commented on that article was Rhonda, stating she wanted to volunteer at Majd's center. I texted her and came to learn that she lived in Bekaa Valley, less than 30 minutes from Majd's center. She spoke both English and Arabic and was currently unemployed and available to volunteer as a translator for my time in Lebanon. Wow, talk about divine orchestration. Here are some basic facts about the refugee crisis in Lebanon. And I won't go into too much detail on the numbers, but want you to simply keep in mind that the Syrian war began 12 years ago, and millions of people are still displaced, living in tents, with lingering symptoms of trauma and stress. Most of these people have lost everything, including loved ones. Syria was a beautiful country before the war. I want to share some before and after photos so you can get an idea of what many of the refugees experienced and escaped from. That photo on the left could be a resort in Miami Beach, and this is what the aftermath was. This could be any tree-lined street in your own neighborhood. This is the same street after it was bombed. This could be any thriving city street in your country. This is the same location in the aftermath of war. Majd saw firsthand the effects of war and was doing everything in his power and at his own personal sacrifice and expense to support the innocent victims who suffered these losses. He began his work there in 2013. I remember that as he drove me through the camps, he commented how we could see refugee tents for miles and miles. My first day in Lebanon, Rhonda joined me as interpreter, and we hit the ground running, going out with the IIPD team to canvass and take trauma assessments of those living in the camps. Despite the bleak conditions and hardships, the Syrian and Lebanese people are known for their hospitality. This was such a delight to spontaneously share Turkish coffee with the residents who played host to us in the camp, quickly setting up chairs and tables in the middle of a mud-soaked pathway through the tents. Once the assessment questions were answered and tallied to determine if anyone in the home had trauma symptoms, they were offered the opportunity to receive free transportation and trauma relief therapy in the 6-week I Can program at the IIPD Center. The 6-week I Can program involved both mother and child. If the mother is not regulated and in peace, it's almost impossible for a child to become self-regulated on their own. This is Rhonda and I with some of the staff at the IIPD Center. Majd was so impressed with Rhonda's skills that he hired her as his administrative assistant. Rhonda had been out of work for 2 years, and Majd needed someone to help him write his grants in English. Rhonda now had a job, Majd had help, and I had a friend that could work with me on the program. That was an exciting win-win for all of us. Sadly, 3 weeks following my visit on February 15, 2017, Majd traveled into Syria to visit a sick family member and then went missing, reportedly detained by the Syrian government. Within months, his center was shut down due to his absence and lack of funds. Rhonda was there throughout the entire shutdown of the operation. Had I not changed my timeline to come to Lebanon in January rather than March, we may never have embarked on this particular unfolding journey together. Over the past few years, we've supported Majd's family in trying to get information from the U.S. government about his whereabouts and to obtain his release. The first photo is of Majd and his daughter Miriam, who is on our advisory board of Be in Peace. Here are some photos of our visit to Washington, D.C. with the Kamalmaz family to advocate with Congress for Majd. So far, we've been given very little concrete information, but remain hopeful. You can learn more about his story, his humanitarian work around the world on our website at beandpeace.org. To honor Majd's work, the HeartMath Institute developed a trauma-sensitive training certification program called the Resilient Heart, which is open to anyone to take and features interviews with Majd that were conducted during his attendance at the HeartMath annual conference. Both Rhonda and I have taken the training, and Rashida is scheduled to take it shortly. We highly recommend it. It is excellent. You can Google the Resilient Heart HeartMath Trauma Training for more information, or go to the HeartMath.org website. Though at the beginning of this presentation, I said my story with Be in Peace began in 2016, I think it actually began earlier, back in 2013, when I was going through a very painfully stressful time in my life. I was in recovery from a loss, unfulfilled in my job, and just not living my best life. I came upon what is known as the Metta Loving Kindness Prayer, which offered me tremendous emotional relief. Curious about its positive effect, I started researching the various versions of the prayer, and soon, like working with poetry, I had created my own personal version of the Metta prayer, which begins with the phrase, "May I be in peace." Not long after, I discovered HeartMath and their stress management techniques, which was another support in my heart journey. When I began my certification training with HeartMath in the spring of 2016, I was astonished to discover that before ever hearing of HeartMath, I had somehow written my Metta meditation that reflected the intention, process, and result of becoming what HeartMath terms heart coherent. Then, in early 2017, during my stay working with Majd, I learned that his moniker, his email address, and his catchphrase were "Be in Peace." This was another synchronicity connecting to the opening words, "May I be in peace," of what became known as Metta Coherence Meditation, which we will meditate together with shortly. I believe that when we make that journey from our head to our heart guides us to follow our deepest resonance and callings in order to put us on the path our hearts want to follow. This is living from our heart to be in a state of peace and taking actions our heart calls us to bring peace into the world. Though it's been a very challenging yet rewarding few years, we're very proud to announce that earlier this year, Be in Peace, the nonprofit charity organization Rhonda and I founded to continue the peace work inspired by Majd Kamalmaz, received our 501c3 tax exemption status. Our dear friend, linguistics professor and peace advocate, Dr. Rashida Faid, has recently joined our board and will assist Rhonda in translating HeartMath's stress management techniques into Arabic to share this peace work first in Lebanon and later, God willing, or as they say in Arabic, inshallah, throughout the Middle East. The Be in Peace logo combines the English word peace and the Arabic word salam, which means peace. This is one small way where symbolically the West joins with the Middle East in peace as a way for all of us to be in peace. We again invite you to visit our website, beandpeace.org, and learn more about Be in Peace and the amazing legacy of Majd Kamalmaz and the trauma and stress relief work we're endeavoring to bring into this world. If you are inspired to support world peace by contributing to our peace work, Please consider making a donation to our latest program of translating HeartMath's stress management techniques into Arabic to share with those who are still suffering from the ongoing pain of war and displacement. Let's help them be in peace.